So here's a poster. This is almost the size of the poster is going to be. I think this screen is a little bit bigger than what I'm used to. But really what we've got is about 4 feet, 48 inches wide. And her poster, I think this was still 40 inches tall. But what you can see right up at the top right there, she's got trenchant transitions. We can see her title. I tried to find a bunch of education ones, so it'll hopefully help with you. She's got a nice little clip art of just some kids on there. I think what that was really doing was just breaking up some of the monotony of her poster on there. But you can see how her poster is framed. She's got introduction, background, and a word from the expert. So I can see some of this. Here's her introduction, here's her background. I can read some of that. And now I can step over into the middle and read her methods and her materials and kind of see some of the breakdown that she's got. Then I can take another step over here and read her results and her analysis and discussion. Simultaneously, as I'm moving, somebody else can come in and look at her poster on there. I like this because of how some of it's set up, but I also don't like it. If you're just looking at it from afar, you can see it just looks like she has blocks of text up there. And so it's very word heavy. I did like that she used kind of a chart right here to kind of break down that she had 100 in her race. She had 124 that were black, 236 that were white, and there was one that was other. And she talked a little bit about junior high, and she broke down some of the numbers for us in her materials on there. But I got lots of posters I'm going to show, lots of different ones that I'm going to be talking about, so it's going to get funny. Schneider final poster. I think I got one. This is one I like a little bit better. Woo, that one just went crazy. Okay, good. This is one I like a little bit better. As you can see, what she did here was she went with a light background. It's mainly a white background with dark text on top of it. We're used to that. But it doesn't look as chunky and as heavy as you might expect. So up at the top, she's got her logos. She's got her nice MU logo. She's got her nice McNair logo, because that's what she was. She's got the title right there. She put at the bottom her name and her mentor name and all that. I would have liked if she put it up top, but it kind of framed it well if you look at the bigger picture. But you can see on her introduction, she's got some good chunking going on there. She's got a little paragraph talking a little about the background, but then she goes into autonomy and supportive social context and the psychological needs and satisfaction, so I can tell each one of the different paragraphs. So what that allows me to do as a reader, if I'm an expert in psychological needs or satisfaction, I can skip over that part, or I can maybe read it real quickly, and I can find where her purpose is. I can see what she has right here, and you see us on her purpose. She spelled it out. Her purpose was 1, to describe the level of autonomy support, 2, describe the level of psychological needs, 3, describe the level of motivation, and 4, explain course and instructor approval from 3 factors of self-determination theory. That got a little wordy, but because she broke it down 1, 2, 3, 4, I was able to understand it a little bit better. She also had a visual representation right there of 3 different areas forming into one area that talks about course instructor and approval. If you can see, she's got her methodology really big, so I kind of don't like that she doesn't get into her findings right away, but she still had to get into it eventually because she had a lot of terms that she needed to define. But you can see one of the things that when you look at this poster, one of the first places that your eye goes is right to the center. You're looking at the color stuff. You can see right here in the findings, she's got her classification and her gender, all those different areas that are popping up for you, and then she's got a visual representation of it, and then her discussion is talking about all her results right there. When I bring up this next one, I want you to pay attention to where your eye goes first and what you're looking at right away right here. So this poster, let's see if that's final. Yeah, I've got a lot of different ones. So you see with this poster right here, to me, right when I look at it, I'm looking at that picture inside the classroom that she's got in a nice box all by itself. I think what she actually did was she took that picture and she let it dictate the color of her poster. So she found the nice warm oranges, the nice yellow tone, and used that as a basis for her poster, because then everything started to match. That seems a little silly maybe to talk about because you're really thinking about the research, but part of the posters is the aesthetic. So let's talk about it overall. She's got her introduction. In fact, that was the sample one I used. Then she's got just the bullet points of her beliefs and work shaping society. And if you can see it, they're literally just some of the sentences broken down with her citation on there, but broken down so that we can read through them really quickly and be able to jump over the different aspects that we might need to do. Methodology right there in the center has her research questions on there. It's kind of sad. Hers was a little bit more qualitative, so it was tougher to show some of it. So inside the classroom, that was almost her results. in education, y'all are a little bit different because you can do both really good qualitative and quantitative research, and be able to show that in the different ways starts to become part of it. But really what she wanted to get to was, here's what she heard from the participant. So she has that kind of boxed off to itself. But then she goes into, what are the implications of this? What did I really find about asking these research questions, and what did I find from it? And then she goes into limitations and further studies, all chunked together, that they're all sub-parts of each one of the different aspects of it. So it worked well. I know that's Brittany Smotherson. I know she got her master's degree here at MU afterwards. Right now she's in Korea. Yes, Sims final. Oops. Okay, I think this is their final one on this. So this is Anjali Sims. She was actually another student out there. Hers was interesting because she did all this research. You know, she did her literature review, all of her background information. But then she was working with one of the school systems nearby, and it took forever to get through IRB approval. And we said, you're going to present it in the end of April for us anyways. You need to figure out what you're going to do. So this is almost became just background information, literature review, a poster from her literature review. So she did a precursor study that she only got a little bit of information on there. And I think when this one popped up, the first thing you probably looked at was this giant chart right here, this visual graph that she had of her quantitative design. So she was really talking about, here's what the design of my project was going to be. And you can see how she's got it all nicely boxed together. Nice logos up at the top. A nice red color kind of looks, what? On my screen versus that screen, I've got it as a nice red background with more of an orange box for each one of her different subheadings, her different areas. I think it looks brown up here. I think when it posted off, it looked a little bit more red than everything. It's just one of the things where the posters go different colors on there. But you can quickly see how she's got it flowing together. Her introduction. Then she talks about stage 1, her precursor study, which looked at the purpose, her methods, results. She almost has a little mini study right here. And her stage 2, where she did a follow-up study. I think that's where she ran into some of the issues, because she got everything together, but then was able to actually test some of it, because that's research. Stage 3, she's got some of it where she was really reevaluating everything, but then she talked about the limitations and future studies. I see one of the things, the timing of the continuance of the study depended upon the approval of the project by the public school system. The timing of this study was an inconvenience for the public schools. I don't want to say what public school, y'all can guess. But it's listed right there. She's even got her references on there as well. I really like this one. Just wish it had more data, but that was not a result of the poster. Did I do this one yet? This is that same one that I showed, the very first one. I think she kind of adapted it a little bit more. Yeah, you can see she kind of chunked it a little bit more. Let me go back and show you that first one that she did. Rogers. So this was the first one that the student did. You can see that it's all text heavy, text blocky and all that. So I had her chunk it a little bit more, and now at least she's got the background. It's a little bit more indented. There are a couple of different points on there. Her introduction is a little bit more bulleted. If you see over her results, her quantitative results, I think that says, they're a little bit more broken down, a little bit easier, so you can kind of understand everything a little bit easier as well. Schneider, final. Here's another poster. Gonna hide from me? Sorry if this is like driving you crazy because it keeps bouncing around. Ooh. Come on. Oh, poster. Okay. I hate the colors of this one. I tell that to students. I always laugh because now students say, you're not going to be talking badly about my poster. I'm like, well, make a good poster for me. I dislike her colors, but I like what she did with some of it. One, if you notice, right in the center is her scatter plot graphs. That's what your eye probably instantly went to, maybe because it was a white background versus everything else was that red background, but your eye instantly went there, and that's the part that she really wanted you to look at. That's her findings. That was her results on there. So you're looking at her results right away and looking at another aspect of it. She's also one of the first ones that I've shown you with an abstract. I'm always conflicted about abstracts because sometimes poster presentations require you to have an abstract. Other times poster presentations you'll have like a book that has the abstract in them. To me, when you look at the poster, your poster almost is your abstract because you can look at everything, you can see everything really quickly and easily, be able to make it your own short little area of that. So that becomes one of those areas that talk to your mentor, talk to see what they typically do in your field. Look at the different conferences that you might be presenting to, see what they typically do. I always think though, if you need space, get rid of that abstract. You know, it's something that's summarizing the entire thing that you can see with one glance. But if you do see what she has it broken down, she's got her general environment, talking about previous evidence, that's her background. Then she went into her methods, then she got her results. You see if most of this 1/3 is the background stuff that she didn't find, but 2/3 of her poster is talking about things that she actually found. She went on to Duke. This is economics, so a little bit outside of the normal area, but she was in education economics, so I thought I'd show some of that as well. This was a student that was in Romance languages, kind of English Romance languages. What I really wanted to show was that she was kind of different on there. That's one reason why I kept it for this. What she almost has is two different posters here going on. She's got this first one that it's almost like a hybrid, that she's got the first third of it up there, and then the second part is another part right here. Basically what she was looking at was two different poems, and she was translating it from Spanish into English, and to be able to go with some of that and kind of talk about the different aspects that you might have to do. So you think right there, she's talking about the source. Here's the original one. Here's some of it that she went with some of her purposes for it. Wait. Here was the original source material. Here's what she took that source material and then wrote in a different color what she was interpreting that as in English, and kind of talked about some of the different aspects of it. What I really want to show is that anybody from any discipline can make a different poster. If you had research, if you did something creatively, you can make a poster for it, and I think it allows you to really get some more in depth on it. She went on to the Merchner School of Fine Arts down at the University of Texas, Austin. She's doing really well. Be able to keep going on from there. This is another one a little bit outside the area, but I really like hers as well. Come on. I keep clicking on something weird. Come on. Okay. This was a student in speech pathology. What happened when I looked at it right away, I went to this first table, table 1, figures 1, 2, and 3, the two different pictures that she did. But you can really see what she did. She's got her information all up at the top. I know where to do. I don't have to even read that part of it. But you can see the next aspect of it. We've got her background. She's got it all bullet points right there. I can quickly read some of it, skim some of it. She's got her purpose, so I know what her purpose is. You can see it is. She's got her method done right real quickly. She had 12 participants. She did this and this and this with them really quickly on there. This is not your research. They really want to know your methods more. They can get your paper, or maybe you'll have parts of it out there for them available to it. But you can see here's what she really found. Basically she took an object that you might not know what it is. So for instance, she's got a picture of a badminton birdie and it says Woog, and she gave it to kids, said Woog, this is named Woog, and kind of see how they reacted to it, which just, I find that amusing to so many different levels. I'm like, oh, we're going to lie to a kid and you're not going to know what this is, but we're going to tell you it's some weird thing with it. But she talks about her procedures right there. So she's got the main results that she had. That's almost her raw data. And then she goes into her results and talks about it. So this might be the individual area of it, and this is looking at the more of the general picture of it. So you can really see it, and then she's got her conclusions and references right there. Be able to keep going on with it. Another tip, references. References, I would say, is the next one to go of your poster if you need the space. That doesn't mean get rid of them. What you can always do is have your references available to people. Just print out a piece of paper with all your references on there, your bibliography, your works cited. Maybe put a note at the bottom. References cited is available upon request. And then when you're presenting your poster, have your references there available to people. Another thing that you can do, print off your poster on a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, have a couple copies of that around for them. So if somebody's really interested in your poster, you can give it to them and say, here you go, here's my poster. That works well for people as well. And then hopefully it has your contact information, all that. Then when they go back from the conference, they might actually be able to contact you. You know, what I always talk about is conferences are your chance to be able to network with different people. Posters are another way of almost like having a business card to be able to forward. This was an ag education person, so education, a little bit stretching it. She was looking at 4-H. She had a lot of space with her poster. She went with 4 columns just because some of the ways that she was doing it was pretty tough to do for her to fit everything in there. But you can see it right at the top. We talk about the background. She's talking about what 4-H is. Kind of look at the background, think of the larger picture of your research that you're doing. She talks about her purpose, she talks about her method, and then she uses 3/4 of her poster to talk about her results and talk about what she found. She's taught using this model, so she's got her model right here in the middle of the picture. She talks about what some of her interview questions were that she asked these different students about, you know, what were you getting from 4-H? Then she talked about some of the themes that she had, and she developed a life skill model. That was a big thing that she really wanted to get across, this fun life skill model that she developed. I haven't looked at this poster since this student did this work. I'm doing right now just skimming the poster and telling you about it and what I'm reading from it. That's really what you can do with posters. That it allows you to skim, allows you to quickly understand an area and then dive more deeply into the different areas if they really interest you. She goes into limitations, areas, and some of her implications. So you can see why should we bother to research this? Why is 4-H actually benefiting students? Is it benefiting students? Which I hope she really talks about as well. I think this is the last one that I really have planned. This was another student of ours. She's now off at a doctoral program in Ohio State, looking at multicultural competencies among school counselor trainees. My eyes right away go to that huge chart right in the middle, which is her P chart. Look at the different P levels of some of these different areas that she looked at. You can also see she's got some nice visual representation of what is that? Cultural intelligence predicts multicultural competencies. So it's talking about where these different areas overlay. Another visual way to be able to represent some of the data that she has. But you can also see how she chunked everything together. Her abstract up there, she didn't really need it, but she had the space for it. She had an introduction. She's got a bunch of different paragraphs. It's not well chunked together, but the fact that she has 3 different paragraphs, I can kind of tell, you know, like that first paragraph, she's talking about 2020, 2/3 of the K-12 students will be racial and economic minorities. She's talking about that. Then she talks about some Holcomb-McCoy's research. She keeps going on from there. Method, you can see her methods right there. She's got her participants. She listed the number of participants, 110 school counseling trainees. She talked about the measures. She's got, what, 5 different measures right there that she was really looking at. But then she spent the most of her poster talking about her results. If you see right there, she does a little bit more than 2/3, I would say, because that center column is a little bit bigger. Be able to stretch some of that out. Is talking really about her results. Then you can see her discussion. She talks about some of the different research summary. What's she's got right there? Research summary, and then HMR results show that, and she listed right there. She got rid of some of those helper words. It's almost as if when you're doing the chunking information, you see I keep trying to talk about chunking because I think that's the toughest to do, but it's one of those things that once you dive into it, you kind of start to understand it. Chunking to me becomes, if somebody were lecturing you on this different stuff, what is the notes that you would be doing? When somebody's doing a lecture, you don't write down verbatim everything that they say, but you start to develop an outline for it. And that's what chunking becomes. To do chunking, go back to your paper. Go back to the papers of the different areas that you've talked about. Take a highlighter, underline the words, underline the different aspects that you really want to do, just like you might with any other article, research article you read, your textbook you might read, and highlight the different areas of it that are really making sense to you. That's some of it. Do you want me to go into, here's some of the more of the nuts and bolts of let's create a poster, which sometimes gets fun? Up to you. It sometimes gets fun. We got time, let's go for it. Okay, so that's a poster, but those are already pre-made poster. Let's create a poster. And this is why it might be good if you have a computer around, you kind of play around, do with it what I did. So I opened up PowerPoint. In this case, I just hit Control-N because I've got like 20 PowerPoints open on there. Yeah, keep a shot of that because that's going to be more where I do everything. You see one of the first things you get is you get a blank screen. What I would say the first things you start to do is get rid of all these other text boxes and get rid of them. I should have mentioned this early on. PowerPoint is not the best program to be doing it. PowerPoint is more for oral presentations. Why am I doing posters in PowerPoint? Well, it's because everybody has PowerPoint. The computers that you go to have PowerPoint. It doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that other places might, but that's fine. You don't need it. Your place where you print it probably has PowerPoint. You know, InDesign is going to be better. Publisher is going to be better, but not everybody has that. Not everybody knows how to use it, so this just works because of that. You want to have as big of a screen as possible, so we're going to get rid of this side little area right here, so all we have is a blank sheet of paper. Well, the next thing I would say is to right mouse click and go to grids and guides. There's other ways you can get this too. For you Mac users, I think there's one of the drop down menus up on the ribbon is going to be possible, but I like going through this way. Right mouse click on grids and guides, and click on this thing right here that says display drawing guides on screen. You also want to make sure this up here, your spacing is set to pretty wide. I like to 1/16 or 1/24, works pretty better, and I'll talk about what that's doing pretty soon as well. Yeah, I see you zooming in. There's going to be parts you're going to need to zoom in pretty soon here. So we're going to tell it OK. And you can see, boom, I got these two different guides on there. They're basically dotted lines going on there. And if you see when I click on one of these lines, all of a sudden a number pops up. So you see right now I'm clicking on the line that says 0.00. That's because I'm in the exact center of the piece of paper on there. So now as I drag this way to the far left, oh, I forgot to set something up. When I drag this way to the far left, it says 5 inches. It says 5. So I'm 5 inches from the center right there. That's because I forgot to do something. So make sure you zoom down on this. Click up here, up on design. If you click on page setup, we're going to set up our poster to be the size that we want. So in this case, I said at the beginning, we're going to do a 48 by 40 inch poster. So width of 48 inches wide, 40 inches high, landscape, and we're going to tell it OK. And when I click OK, you know, it kind of clicked and nothing really looks like it changed. But if you see right now, if I take this same guide and I'm clicking on it and I'm dragging it way to the far left, we're at 24, and it's got a little arrow facing left, so 24 right there. If I go to the other side, it's 24 right there. So that's 24 plus 24 is 48. So hey, we did it right. So what these guides do, it allows you to line up everything. So what I would suggest you do is take it way over here to the left and then give yourself about an inch margin. So we're going to put it at 23. Right, 24, and then I'm going to scroll. It gets hard to do with your hand. 22.9, that's close enough, right? I'm going to zoom in a little bit so maybe I can get it a little bit better. Yeah, you would not want to go perfect. We'll go with 22.99. Okay, sure, that works. Another thing you can do, if you hold down the control key and so right now I'm holding down the control key and I'm clicking the mouse button, you can see I've got 22.9 and then underneath that arrow it says a plus sign. What I can do now is click on it and hold down control and I can drag it and I get another one. So now I've got another one right there. So all of a sudden right now I've got a center column. I can click on control again, I click on this one, I can drag it right over here and I get another one. So all of a sudden I've got 3 columns right there. It allows you to start setting up every different area of it. So now I'm messing with this horizontal line. If I go down to, let's go about 13 inches. Yeah, no, near about. So I've got 7 inches up here. That's where I can put in my title, my name, my logos, anything else like that. And all of a sudden you can start developing everything. So we go up to the home key. We're going to go to insert, and we're going to go to insert, a text box. So I'm going to put in that. We're going to type in there, introduction. So this is where my introduction is going to be. They can see on their home key right now, that's at a 91 point font. If you look down here in the bottom right here, it says we're zoomed out to 20%. That means that we're way zoomed out to 20%. So this is at 91 point font. If we make that a little bit smaller, we can definitely go with something smaller. So let's go down that to about 48. That would be on the small side of things. So you can see how much better that fits in there. We're going to make it center on there. So that's how you first start to set up everything. The main thing that I would start to say to people is get everything that you want on the poster up there first. You can start to play around with all different aspects of it and then suddenly realize you need more space. But if you get everything up there that you want first, then you can start to manipulate things and make things smaller and to be able to make things the way that you want them to do. Technically, I think you're supposed to leave this next part alone, but I always think it makes it a little bit more exciting if you go with it next. Right mouse click and go to Format Background and start deciding what you want to do as your color. It's as simple as that. Go with a solid fill or a pattern fill. You know, you can always have, or a texture fill. You can kind of make it look like water droplets, or a green marble, which starts to look a little creepy when you look at it really big. Make it look like a crumpled up piece of paper. Texture fill, they kind of start to get a little silly. Solid fill, like I said, light on dark. So if you start to click on here, got a nice olive green, although that looks yellow to me. Looks more green up on there than on this monitor, and who knows what it looks like on that TV screen, monitor screen, computer screen, whatever you're watching it on. Like I said at the beginning, it's easy to go with light on dark. So if you see right here, we've got a light background, a nice yellow background. You can see that word introduction pretty well because our eye is used to having a light background with a dark texture on top of it. But I think that's the first easy way to start going with it, is just start to put the different aspects of there that you might have. You know more about your presentation than about your research than you really think you do. You can go ahead and start to put up there your title, put your logo up there, put the University of Missouri up there. Start to put the different sections of it, the introduction that you want to do, the methods that you want to put in there. Start figuring out where you're going to lay out all those different aspects of it, and then it gives you a place to go into that. Then you start just to populate the poster with the different aspects of your research on there. But start thinking about some of the visuals that you might want to take. Maybe you need to go and take a picture. If you're looking at classrooms, you need to take a picture, get a picture of the classroom or whatever. Be hesitant with that because of privacy concerns, but you can get a picture of the back of the head, or maybe a teacher standing up at the front and all you see is the back of every kid's head. Start thinking about some of those as you're doing some of the research. It's one of those things you can always, it's easier to edit down than there is to add on to it, just like it is true for research papers and all that. So I think some of that starts to add into there on there. But I think seeing some sample posters often helps spark your idea of what you can do. So that's why I tried to show you a bunch of the different ones to be able to show you the different concepts of there. And if you've seen a poster, you can start to do it. With posters, if you don't like computers, what I often tell students is take a back of a piece of paper and just start drawing me what you want to do. What are the different things you're visualizing? A poster is a very visual aspect of your research, so you have to kind of start to map it out early. But if you can start to visualize it, you can get it onto the poster. PowerPoint actually is pretty easy to work with. It's not the best one, but sometimes it's a little bit more intuitive. I'm also experienced in InDesign, and there's some I don't care about the spacing between each of the letters in the word. I just want to get it on there. And PowerPoint kind of removes some of those bells and whistles that get a little ridiculous on there as well. I think that's all I've got for you.